Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Get Into Flow, the Mindset Shifting Podcast. I am your host, Transformational Mindset Coach Sabrina, and you might notice a little theme that we've started on for 2025. The last few episodes have all been about finding your purpose, aligning your path, and living the life that you deserve and that you truly want. So let's continue with today's topic, which is how to discover and start living your purpose. So let's be real. Living without a sense of purpose can feel draining, uninspiring, and even hopeless at times. Maybe you're feeling stuck. Maybe you feel like you're just going through the motions, the routines that don't really inspire you anymore. And so if you started questioning if what you're doing is truly meaningful, if you feel fulfilled, this is the episode for you, because we're going to unpack that together. I know this feeling all too well. For years, I was chasing success in ways that didn't align with who I truly was. And honestly, it left me feeling exhausted, unfulfilled, and disconnected from myself. And I shared my story 2 episodes ago, all about how burnout saved my life. So I encourage you, if you haven't already done that, to go back and listen, because that will put this episode in perspective for you. Understanding that I know how you feel. I've been there and I've been able to come through on the other side and thrive in a career and a lifestyle that I've chosen for myself. So when we talk about purpose, purpose is important because it gives our life meaning. It's that anchor that keeps us grounded when life gets messy, when life gets hard, because it's that fuel that keeps you going. It's that drive and that motivation to keep pushing through when things get tough. If you have purpose, you're going to find that it's going to be what's going to take you through to that other side. It's going to be what takes you further than if you didn't have purpose. When you're aligned with your purpose, you wake up excited, you feel more connected to yourself and to others, and life just feels lighter. So if you've been feeling like you're carrying the world on your shoulders, things feel heavy, it just doesn't feel right, you wake up with a lack of motivation, you dread the day ahead, there is a strong chance that you are disconnected from yourself and from your purpose, or that your purpose has changed along the way, and that you just need to rediscover what that is again and what that looks like for you. But here's the truth. Purpose doesn't magically appear. It's something that you create through self-discovery, through reflection, and through action. So that's what I mean by rediscovering what that is and living true to that purpose again. And today I'm going to share 3 practical steps to help you start uncovering your purpose and taking action towards it. Because it's lovely to know what it is, but if you don't take action, nothing will come of it. Before we dive into the steps, let's talk about what it feels like when you're not aligned with your purpose. So you might feel stuck, like no matter what you do, it's never quite enough. You might feel burnt out, as if you're giving all your energy into something that doesn't light you up, or you pour all of yourself into a project and it just leaves you unfulfilled. You're disconnected from yourself, unsure of what you want or what makes you happy. When I ask the question, what brings you joy? A lot of people have trouble answering that question because we forget what we enjoy. We forget what makes us laugh, what makes us feel like a kid again. That's that disconnection that's causing that. And that underlying sense that there must be more than this. Does any of this sound familiar? I definitely felt all of these during my burnout phase, and it wasn't until I started asking myself the hard questions and the right questions and taking those small steps forward that I began to reconnect with what truly mattered to me. So if you're feeling this way, know that you're not alone. And more importantly, you don't have to stay stuck. Let's talk about how to begin changing that. Step 1, reflect on what lights you up. I touched on this very briefly in my personal story 2 episodes ago, where my first step in my healing journey was to really reconnect with what made me happy and start to put my energy into those things again. So I want you to get curious about what makes you feel alive. So I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions to start uncovering what lights you up. Question number 1, what are the activities or the moments that help you lose track of time? They say time flies when you're having fun. Well, what does that fun look like for you? In what environment, situation, scenario do you lose track of time? Number 2, What energizes you instead of drains you? So it's important to know the difference between the people you spend time with, the activities you do. When you leave feeling energized, that's what you need more of in your life. When you leave feeling drained, that is an indication that there is a misalignment there. Something's not quite right. So let's focus on those moments where you are energized. And what does that look like? And the third one, what have you always been curious about but never actually pursued? What is something that you've always wondered to yourself? That could be cool, but never actually went for it. Is it a dance class? Is it going back to school or learning something online, a new topic? For me, it was psychology. I went to school in communications. I'm a communications major, but I was always curious about psychology. So, in my reflection healing phase, I started learning online all of these psychology, behavioral change classes, which I didn't realize at the time would help me when I became a coach. But starting with what you are curious about and leaning into that and discovering that is a great place to start to reconnect with yourself. And if I could say, these are the breadcrumbs that lead to your purpose. So write them down. Don't judge them. It doesn't have to make sense right away. Just start reflecting on these three questions and see where this could potentially take you. Another example I could share about myself is going back to teaching. Teaching when I was supporting others, when I was helping them, connecting deeply with them, seeing them progress, and knowing that I had a little bit of assistance in that really made me feel like I was exactly where I was meant to be. That gave me purpose to help you get that dance move, to help you feel confident on stage. So that was the type of activity that for me energized me. And again, looking back, those moments were clues because they pointed me in that direction again of rediscovering dance and teaching. All right, if you need to stop here, if you need to just take some time to go and reflect and journal about this, I think this needs to take the time that it takes for you to really sit with what is it that lights you up. This is a great first step in giving you those clues to discover what your purpose is. So don't underestimate the power of these questions. Once you're ready, let's move on to step two. Step two is to identify your strengths and your challenges. So, your purpose often lies at the intersection of what you're naturally good at and the challenges you've overcome. So, here are some questions to help you reflect. What do people often compliment you on or ask you for help with? For me, people often compliment me on my presentation skills, my dance skills. A lot of friends in high school used to ask for advice, help with navigating challenging situations, which again, kind of lends itself well to what I've become. Next question. What skills or talents feel effortless to you? For me, that's teaching and dancing. That also comes with experience. So think of if it's not something that maybe came naturally to you. For me, dancing was always natural, but there was always an effort that was involved or an amount of work. Teaching in the beginning felt good, but it was still challenging. So that came with experience. So think in your life that over time, with the experience you have, with the jobs you've done, with all of the responsibilities and the tasks that you've worked on, what is it that you're good at? What is effortless to you? What comes so easy that you could do it forever? For me, it's presentations as well, talking in front of people. Public speaking is something that came very naturally to me. And that's a good thing since we have this podcast. And the last question, what struggles have shaped you into the person you are today? So, for my example, my own burnout and self doubt, they were painful, but they taught me so much about resilience, alignment, and courage. And now I use those lessons to help others find their way. So your strengths and challenges hold that roadmap, that blueprint to how you can make a unique impact in the world. Take a moment to reflect here, maybe hit pause and dive deep into some journaling. And when you're ready, let's go on to the final step, step three. Step three, taking aligned action. As I always say, you can have a great plan, but if you have no action, you're not moving, getting anywhere, right? Take aligned action. So you can have the best plan with the best intentions, but until you actually take that step, you're standing still. You need to move forward. Clarity also comes from action and not overthinking. So when we're planning and we're trying to prepare ourselves, we often get into overthinking, into self-sabotage of procrastination, where you're so caught up with the map that you forget to actually step forward into it and take action. So clarity comes from action because until you take that first step forward, you won't know what the next step could potentially be. You can have an idea, but you won't know for sure unless you actually step into it. And purpose isn't just about knowing, it's about doing. So here's how to start. Start small. Try something new that excites you. Maybe take a new class, start a new project, or a conversation, take an online course, like whatever it is, start small, but what's that first step that you can take? And every time you take a step, it reveals more about you and you discover more about yourself. I want you to also follow your curiosity. Ask yourself, what if I explored this? Let your curiosity guide you to unexpected opportunities. I feel like when we follow curiosity, that's the purest form of following our intuition because you're not expecting a certain result. You're just there to discover where this could lead you. And that's a beautiful place to be. I would encourage everybody to remain curious to a certain degree of what you're interested in, what you want your life to look like. So, following your curiosity can lead you to the most beautifully unexpected places. And finally, let go of that perfection and just start. Start imperfectly. So again, I mentioned self-sabotage and the procrastination. Perfectionism is also a trap. It's procrastination in this everything needing to be lined up perfectly before you actually begin. I'm here to tell you, don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Action creates momentum and momentum builds confidence. So you need to be stepping into that role. And again, you don't need to have all 20 steps figured out. Just take that first step because that's going to help you get that momentum to then continue on to the next step and the next and the next. But if you're waiting to start, if you're waiting for permission, here's me giving you permission. If you're waiting for the perfect moment or opportunity, how about right now? Nothing's better than right now. Why wait? Why stay in a position that you are no longer happy in? Why prolong the discovery of this new life that awaits you, of this new beautiful chapter that you have to write? Why wait for all of that to come into fruition when you can start right now? For me, my first small aligned actions were, as I mentioned, getting curious about what lit me up. So, taking those psychology classes online and then discovering the more that I learned about psychology, that the more I love this world and I was fascinated by the human brain and our mind and how we interpret things and perspectives and mindset. And so that naturally led me into taking another course and then another, and then a certification, and then exploring coaching. So that one action of me being curious and me being like, oh, let me see what this psychology class is all about, led me down a whole path that I could have never planned out. So here's where taking that first step is so important because it opens the door to possibilities and opportunities that you could have never seen coming because they came from that actual step. So had I not taken the step, I could have never mapped out that version of my life because I never could have seen what was coming. So taking that first step is so important for so many different reasons. Yes, it builds momentum. It gets you out of feeling stuck. It lets you stretch your comfort zone a little bit. It allows you to get curious, to reconnect with that inner child, to reconnect with what lights you up. But it also sets you on a path that's in motion to uncover all of the opportunities that lay ahead that you could never plan. Also, coming from the over planner and the recovering perfectionist and the type A personality, someone who liked to have everything laid out for them and who wanted to be certain about the path. Well, I had to let all that go because I could never be certain about a path that I had never walked because I didn't know what that could look like. So I had to trust the unknown. I had to trust that every step I took forward would lead me closer to that goal and that life that I wanted to live. But I had to let myself be on that path physically and discover it as I went along, leading with curiosity, connecting with my inner voice and trusting my intuition, and just knowing that My purpose, once I uncovered what that was, this was all leading to that. That's what would fulfill me in the end, that I would be able to live my purpose. Purpose unfolds as you move forward. So now I want you to go back to your journal. If you haven't yet reflected on the 3 steps, I want you to take 15 minutes and just start with one and really dive deep. And once you're done, move on to the next one. And then once you're done, move on to the next one. These 3 steps will help you tremendously to start to uncover what purpose looks like for you and how to start living from your purpose. And it might not mean redesigning and shifting your entire lifestyle. It might just mean that you need to create a new habit. Maybe it's a morning routine that allows you to live your purpose a little more freely. Maybe it's starting something new that allows you to uncover what that purpose could look like once it's allowed to be free and to be lived. So, this is not to be done with the intention of a whole life change. This is just starting to ask yourself these important questions, to reconnect with yourself, to see, am I, first of all, clear on what my purpose is? And number two, am I able to live my purpose? Because let me tell you, once you are living from your purpose, once you are clear on what that is and you're able to align all of your actions in life and all of your decisions with your purpose and what makes you happy, you will live a life of joy, of peace, of calm. There will be effort. There will be a little struggle, but the struggle will be worth it because you know you're learning lessons along the way. As long as you're continuing to be aligned with your purpose, there's intention there. There's a reason why. There's something bigger than you that you're working towards. But when you're living out of alignment with your purpose, you're working for somebody else. You're working according to someone else's rules and expectations. And that's where it starts to feel like something is off, like something is missing, because you're not clear on what you want for yourself, what your purpose is. So once you have your purpose and you can really make decisions, you have the confidence that when I choose this or that, it's because this is aligned with my purpose and that is not. Because this is aligned with my values and that is not. That just gives you that inner knowing that you are on the right path. And if ever you want to change that path or take a fork in the road, you connect with yourself and you ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? And if so, go for it. It might be the road less traveled, but if it aligns with your purpose, you're there for a reason. You're there to experience. Be curious. Where can this road less traveled take you? What can you uncover about yourself? What can you learn along the way? And how can you inspire and serve others? Remember, discovering your purpose is a journey. It's about the progress, it's not about perfection. So every small step you take will bring you closer to alignment and fulfillment. If this episode inspired you, I'd love to hear from you. DM me on Instagram. I'm at Duchess Sabrina or at Get Into Flow Podcast. Share your action step with me too. I'd love to hear what you're committing to, and I can keep you accountable. We can inspire each other in this beautiful community to just start taking action towards that purpose and that life of fulfillment. And I can't wait to be here to cheer you on. Until then, keep taking those small steps forward. Keep asking yourself the hard questions so that you can uncover your true desires and live a life of purpose and fulfillment.